Welcome back to the latest episode of the Key and Mang audio experience. I'm your host, Key, as always, joined by my co-host, Mang. Mang, what's up?
What's good, Key? How you living?
I'm living great. You know me. It's really cold out here.
Don't talk to me about cold. Don't
It's
talk
really
about cold.
it's really cold out here and it's scary because it was really nice all week. It was like 60 degrees on Thursday.
It must be nice. I'm out here walking by moose on the road, buses getting stuck in the streets, and like people struggling to make it up hills.
I, I
Like,
guess I guess I can't complain. I can't complain.
different levels of scary.
First world problems, right? All right. Today we're gonna be talking about the impact of social media and how it has changed marketing and sales. So usually in the past, marketing and sales was done through phone calls and TV commercials. But now with the rise of social media, companies are turning to social media ads and ambassadors to reach their audience. And this has made marketing feel a bit more personal, but it also brings up the question of how consumers make purchasing decisions. So what factors influence them to buy from one person versus another or another company versus another. So we'll be exploring this topic in more detail and giving our thoughts and insights on what makes or breaks a decision in somebody purchasing. So, Mang, what are your thoughts?
I think that's very true. I remember when we used to be on TV. I don't know if you ever saw this, but there's like, those rainbow color art. There used to be like things you 1-800 number that you call, and you get like for this one-time price of 9.99, you can get this art piece and the rainbow art, and then you get this bonus like book or whatever. That used to be how you get your information and your get products sold to you, at least when I was growing up. And now it's like I'll search something on Google and then I'll go on Instagram and immediately see an ad for it. And I was like, oh, this is bad. Yes, you're tempted to want to, to get a necklace that you don't need or get some shoes that you don't need, but you see it. If you see it enough, you're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna get it because I keep seeing it and it's talking. It's a sign I should get it. So I think now with marketing and sales, there's a lot more opportunities to see a lot more different products from a lot of different people. And I think now it's more about how do you figure out what you need versus what you want, and how do you make that decision. So I that's kind of my thoughts on what you mentioned.
So, how do you go about making a decision? Like, what do you look for, and like what factors play into your decision to buy with one person versus another?
I think a big part for me is what is the thing that's being offered? Do I have a need for it in my life, or do I just want it? If it's something that I need, I'm probably more willing to take a closer look and see if I need to, dive a little deeper into what the product is. And then if it's a big brand versus if it's somebody that maybe is an ambassador or someone that I know, then I'm gonna reach out directly to them and be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need. Can you answer, like, see if they can answer the questions and does it fulfill the needs that I have? Otherwise, I'll be like, I guess I don't need it then, or maybe I do need it and maybe I need something else as well, just based on what the answers to those questions are. So I think for me is it's about trying to do a analysis of whether or not I need it, and then how is it going to like impact my life? Is it going to make my life easier? Is it going to, make things more efficient? Is it going to, you know, add a positive impact in my life? And then from there, then I think start making some more decisions.
Yeah, and I think having the ability to like talk to somebody that has the product, like an ambassador or something like that. Yes, they're a little biased, but I do think it kind of helps in your decision to buy because then you can get your questions answered and you can see like the pros and cons of the product. I think a lot of people are very open about that, just because it makes their job easier to sell. I think we are open to answering questions and being real about the product. Consumers like that. So I think that's really important. That gives like the personal benefit as opposed to like you see this gigantic company. You're not ever going to be able to talk to them one on one. They're gonna run into scenarios where you're talking to like a robot, like ChatGPT, and they're like answering your questions. So I think the personal aspect really plays a role for me, and then also like social proof, like who else is using it, has it gotten results, things like that really play a role. But I think the personal aspect makes like I like that. Like I'm more willing to buy from somebody that's more responsive and able to answer my questions as opposed to like a big company that I can't get in touch with.
Yeah, and I think a lot more people are like creating their own brands and having their own products that they sell. And I think it's cool to be able to have that as an option to be able to talk to somebody, especially if it's somebody that you like grew up with or somebody that you know. So you know that they're invested in their stuff. You know that they use their products, and I think it's more about, do they use the product themselves, and can they practice what they can they deliver on what it says it's going to deliver on. Like if it's a clothing brand, does it make you feel good? Do you like the colorways? Are you wearing it all the time? Like this is your brand. Like I think that builds to that social proof, that credibility that you was talking about earlier. I think if you really like invested in it and you know it's a good product, then you gonna rock it all the time, or you're gonna use it all the time, and then you're just trying to get other people to use it because it's been beneficial to you and you think it can make a difference in people's world. So I think just with the explosion of more, small businesses and ambassador deals, that it's more about like building the genuine relationship and being invested in the product that you're advertising, or product that you're selling, because you really believe in it, not just because it's bringing you a bag.
Yeah, and when you're online and kind of like getting products thrown on your feed and you're like talking to people, like kind of shopping around, what would turn you off from buying a product?
um I think if there's not a lot of social proof reviews on if it's a good product or not. um I think if I saw something and it was like it's not delivering on what it says it's going to deliver on. So whether you like talk to other people or you talk to the person and they say it's going to do this, and then you find out that it doesn't do that, it doesn't do what it delivers on, then that's a problem. You probably like xed out that relationship, xed out that trust for me to ever get something again, because you told me it was going to deliver on this and you didn't deliver on this. And I'm big on like principle,
So
or acting what you stand on, or acting on what you say. Like if you say it's going to do this, then it needs to deliver on this, and if not, then you just lost somebody because you're making promises that you can't keep. So I think those are my two big things.
yeah, I agree. The same thing. I think that yes, it's good that everybody is now able to have like a personal brand and like sell things, but I do think that it kind of like makes people more, I guess, like suspicious or more like guarded when they interact with your products if you are a seller. So I think one of the things that like helps, at least with me, is definitely like social proof, but I think more so like instead of just having a business page, I think adding like personality to your page and let people see like things outside of just your business helps as well. I think people want to know that you're a person. Like with things being automated and
Hmm.
stuff, I think people really like that personal connection. So yes, people like to see social proof, but also people like to see a real person too.
Hmm. And it doesn't take much. Like if people are on Instagram but DMing you on Instagram or something, like send them back a reply or a voice message or a video. I've had people send video messages to me on Facebook or voice DMs when I ask them questions. I'm like, oh, like you didn't have to go through all that extra length, but little stuff like that is enough to like, all right, your barrier goes down a little bit, or like your guard levels go down a little bit, because this is a real person that you're talking to, and they took the extra time to answer your question, whether it's video or whether it's audio, whether it was a detailed written description, whatever it may be. Just little stuff like that, it goes a long way.
Yeah. And then also with like answering DMs too, I think that you can tell, at least I can tell when like people are interested in you as a like person and just trying to have a conversation, and people are just trying to like sell you stuff right away. Like it seems very scripted when they hit you up, and then like they always want to get you on a call like really quick. I feel like if you're a seller, you should, or like somebody that has a personal brand and looking to sell your products, you should like get to know the person first, and then like see if your stuff could benefit them. And the only way to do that is to get to know them as opposed to trying to sell them right away. It may
Hmm.
take a little longer, but I think you'll get a better quality customer, and then you'll also like have longer lifetime value of that customer as opposed to you just to sell them one off.
And by the time you come to realize that that person may be a fit, you've already figured out what their biggest needs are, what their problems are, what they're trying to accomplish, and you got the thing that's going to help them get to that point. And I think it makes that closing or that conversion a lot easier because you can directly speak to their specific situation and what they're looking for, and you can deliver on that. So I think taking the time to be more interested in the person and getting to know them will ultimately help you filter out who is a good fit for your product or service and who and how you can close that deal. So I think that's a another huge component that you mentioned.
And then last thing I wanted to say was I think that helps to establish trust, but you also have to have a certain level of trust depending on the price of your product. I think if you're selling a lower price point, you don't really have to have that much trust because they're not making a big investment. But if you have like a premium price product and you're like selling it and it's very expensive, people are gonna have to trust you in order to be comfortable making that investment and working with you. So definitely take the time out to get to know people, especially if you have a product that is on the more expensive side, because nobody's going to spend a couple $1,000s with somebody they don't trust.
So what are ways that, a person can work on building that trust besides what we just talked about of getting to know the person? What are some other ways that a person can build trust?
Definitely having a conversation. I think this goes into getting to know the person, but asking questions about what they have like been struggling with, what they've done in the past, what other products they use, and also knowing your market. So like knowing other products so that you can guide them in the best direction. Like either that's knowing what other products are out there, what other people have, what other people are offering like different services because your service may not or your product may not 100% fit that person, and you can refer them to somebody else. And I think people respect that as well. And if they do ever need your stuff, they can come back to you because they trust you to guide them in the right direction. So I think it all comes back to getting to know that person and then obviously social proof.
Hmm. And I think also being able to have um, things that the person can see. So it's not all just word of mouth, but you can see whatever the benefits that you say the product or service is going to have. You can see how it's going to help you. You can see what other people are saying about it. You can see, the price points of whatever, if it's a tier system or if it's a one-time monthly fee or if it's a one-time fee. Being able to see all that, I think just helps people conceptualize, with their decision making and not just have to rely on what they heard, and they can constantly come back to, things that they might have questions with, and you can address them and have it all like frequently asked questions that you might see on that paper or thing that they're looking at while you're presenting to them to help them be more comfortable with their decision. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to find the thing that's going to help them. And does it come from you or does it come from somebody else at a lesser or higher uh, price point? So I think that's a big thing also.
Yeah. And what do you think about, because I have mixed opinions on this. What do you think about people showing their price on like social media versus people who don't?
I think I've seen a lot more people like show their price after they have presented you the benefit of what it's going to be. Um, I think I don't necessarily see a problem with either, but I think if I had to choose one, I would choose the showing you the price at the end after I've laid out what the benefits are, how it's going to help you. Because if it's really something that you want and that you need and that you're willing to do whatever, the price point is not going to be an objection because you're going to justify paying the price, whatever it is, whether it's a monthly thing or a quarterly thing or a one-time payment. If you find it valuable enough, you will find a way to make the payment, whether it's, you dip into your savings, you take out a loan. If you really feel like it's going 10x or whatever, it's going to help you in your endeavors, and you make that price doesn't matter anymore. You found the value in it, and you determine that it's going to help you, so you make it happen.
Yeah, I agree too, and I personally don't show my price for like my higher price products for that exact reason. And I also think that it's hard to see a price and just list like bullet point benefits and kind of justify that price without having a conversation.
Hmm.
I think if people see most prices and they just see a couple of bullet points, they're like, there's no way I'm paying all that for that.
Yeah.
So I think the conversation changes everything. And just with the way I know people think about prices, I'd rather like not show it unless it's like my lower price product that people could just buy on their own. But in order to like really have somebody be comfortable with purchasing, I think that conversation is needed before the price point is dropped.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they gotta believe in you. They gotta believe in you as a seller, as the person presenting the information to them. That you're out there to with their best interests at heart, and you're trying to find whether it's your thing or whether it's somebody else's, like that is gonna work better for them. But they trust you as a trusted source of information to be able to help guide them make the best decision for themselves. You're not making the decision for them, but you're giving them all the information to make the best decision for themselves. And that's really all you can do as a person trying to, promote something that you feel is good for the community, for the world.
Yep. So if you are looking to buy from somebody on social media or somebody you saw anywhere, really just make sure you have trust in the person and you're completely like confident in your decision to purchase, because you don't want to have like regrets of like maybe I shouldn't have done this, maybe this might not help me. Like really take advantage of the fact that most marketing now is very personal, and get your questions answered. Make sure you trust the person. Make sure they have exactly what you're looking for before you make your decision. And I think it'll give you peace of mind going forward and having the product.
It's a good way. It's a good way to end it. I don't have anything to add.
All right. Catch you guys on next one. Peace.
Peace.